Shalom Israel. Real quick video giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Kadash. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, double honors to the apostle, elder bishops, great millstone, much salutations to the brothers teaching word for the hopeful elect, soon to be the elect most high will, to the hopefully extended elect, shalom, blessings. Men, women, and children, getting right into it, the 7 women, the 1 man, we've broken it down to what that 7 means completion, so it's not even, it could be more than that, but, concerning the subject, contrary to popular belief, like I think some camps teach, I know IUIC teach that we're gonna wait. That's gonna be in the kingdom, or, I think even in the kingdom they say like it's gonna be one woman to 1 man. I'm not sure as far as what they say when the kingdom comes, but Jake is figuring this thing out. I mean, even the women, they're like, well, you know what? Instead of chasing him down or, following him to see if he's cheating and trying to keep tabs with him, why don't I just, let him have multiple wives or what have you, another wife, and I know her, and that's sufficient for him, because we know it's not expedient. Even just a white period, it says, in the days to come, they would be like they had no wives. This is concerning the prophets. Now, the worldly people, they're going to exercise this. Also, a lot of Jakes are doing it wickedly, They got the poly epidemic, to where the women, well, so-called share the man, but they get involved too, sexual, and that's not biblical. But Jake is figuring out, like, man, they tired of in and out relationship chasing, a dream, of marriage and all that. So they be like, well, yeah, let's if they're really looking for a man, they'll say, well, what do I have to do to get a man that's going to keep a stable relationship without, cheating or going out there messing with multiple women? And then they think, well, they're going to do that anyway. So, might as well keep that at home. Keep the multiple women thing at home. And I'll know all the girls, and I don't have to go around, seeing who he's messing with and worrying about. Now this is this video is 5 years old. It's another one that's 1 year old. Why black women should consider polygamy. She speaks about in behalf of it. And I'm pretty sure, and then the women say, well, you know what, yeah, if he's a 6-figure, 6-figure man, that's possible. He gotta have stability. He gotta have a house. Well, and that's not according to the scriptures. According to scriptures, it says, we'll, wear our own apparel, and, well, I'll get it, But this woman too, she sort of speak like an activist. Shahrazad Ali, the black man has never had a history of settling with 1 woman. And that's true. I mean, a lot of Jakes that settle with 1 woman is kind of like that's all they can really afford, or, that's all they feel like they're worth, and, being where they are in life. I mean, you ask a celebrity, he gonna say different. Like, yeah, like Chris Brown song, these hoes ain't loyal. They, so he's gonna be like, well, these women are no good. They're not virgins. So what's my stance on it? If I can have any woman I want because I'm rich, he said he did say in his lyric that I could take a broke and then just you know bitch, and you know he's right in a lot of respects. I mean, women do want the bag. They do want um, they want a man with money, but that's not really going to be the case. It says Isaiah 33:6, knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times. So money is, and it's plus money is nothing's worth anything anymore, and the world is moving so fast you can't even enjoy physical possessions anymore. You know, it's like you get a car, you get a house, and then it's like what nobody really communicates or talks to each other. Nobody really hang in big groups no more. So it's like, what am I doing all this for? Because really, your possessions is to share or to publicize it some kind of way to make it known what you have. Like Jake's on the TikTok counting their money and stuff like that. It's all vanity, just like Solomon said. Um, what else does it say? The black woman boy to men in marriage. All these women are agreeing with polygamy. And like I said, Jake, in a worldly matter, he has those two women, and you know, a lot of times, probably more than not, that he'll have them messing around. The singer Neo, he has three wives, I think, himself. But he's an industry dude. He's he's all messed up in the spirit. But yeah. So that's already, whether Jake like it or not, that's already coming to pass. It's already here, and it's becoming more of a thing today, especially with these financial troubles that's coming up on Jake. High gas, hyperinflation. You know, um, and women are gonna start to understand that they're the help meet. You know, you're the ones that help us. You're the nurses to our, you know, to contribute to our life. As a home provider. You know, give us good. Give you, you know, have us as your, we're like kings. You know, and don't get me wrong, there are princesses, such thing as princesses and hopeful elect ladies. You could be special in your, in the body and the ministry of the Most High, Yahweh Shai. You know, it does say in the scriptures, honor your wife as the weaker vessel. So there is honor toward women as the weaker vessel. So and these women look pretty submissive to me. You don't see no attitude at, even the one that with the dyed hair. You see a pleasant look on their faces, and pretty much their aura would be, a good Bible aura, to where it's pleasant. He's having pleasure to dwell with them, and Most High said, we could we could, we can have pleasure in this life, but don't be pleasers of the flesh, or pleasers of the world more than pleasers to Him. So there is order. There is heavy spiritual wisdom and experience that goes with having many wives. But like we said, it's not expedient now. Um, but women they can work today, or they do work today. So we're in slavery too. A lot of these women are finding out that we're in captivity. As far as fate. Well, according to the curses, and facing this world to where there's an elite status that dominates. Usually that dominates the outcome of the lives of Negro, Latino, and Native Americans. To an extent, and then pretty much fully extended to where they're going to really capitalize on their power with going into this new world order. And a lot of so-called white people, men, are killing their wives, their black wives, or the racism comes back around and is high in society, and so they're affected by that too. When the N word is out there and it's passed around, and you got these little race riots, and they're affected too. Because even though they're on the pretty side of being black, so-called black, they still feel the effects of being called the N word and being looked down at as what how they got all these terms for us, these bywords, being monkeys and animals and beasts and all that. So they feel those effects. So it's just a time to where they starting to consider the matter, man. The scriptures, 7 women to 1 man, saying we would eat, go to own apparel, wear our own apparel. Isaiah 4:1, and in that day 7 women, which is a completion, shall take hold of 1 man, saying, we will eat our own bread. So even though they feel like, okay, a man's supposed to be the one that do for us, the 6-figure man, whatever he gotta do for me. That's what they say. He gotta pay my bills. He gotta get me the money, so I can take care of things like my children and all that. Well, it says, and wear our own apparel, because that's a woman's thing. Dressing and fashion, changing of apparel, and always shopping for new clothes and new clothes and new wardrobes, whatever. Our own apparel, only let us be called by that name to take away our reproach. And so it was even dealing with that reproach too. It was a reproach for a woman not to be able to have children, a barren woman. You could find that as in reading about David as an example to what he did to Michal. But so it's almost like coming into the times too where these women want to get married. The celebrity women are getting married. They would use to talk about independence. Now they getting married. Even the hoish women, that was talking about all that stuff about ninjas ain't shit, and I got to get the bag like Trina, Cardi B. They married, and they keep a relationship, moving. Even though they move out of one, they go right into another. So they because now it looks more, it's starting to look more shameful not to be married, be a couple, and have children. And then these women that do have children, well, if they don't have a man, it's almost like they're barren because nobody wants to take care of their children or even, care for it. So it's almost like, man, it's like I don't even have any children because nobody, is getting with me to, be a family with me and my children. So it's kind of like they feel the reproach as if they were barren, you know. And that's how, I would say that's a personal opinion, speaking as a man, but, that's what I see. Anyway, uh, yeah. So, it's going to happen regardless whether people like it or not. It's happening already. So, what it say? White poor. Nick Cannon and the polygamy fantasies of pro-black men. And it's really not a fantasy. I mean, you know, we do admire women physically, and pretty women, women that got bodies, of course. But it's really about the spirit, man. That's why another thing women really are starting to realize, like, you could put on the muchest makeup if you want. You could dye your hair, you could show your body, and the man be like, well, you still no good because your mind is somewhere else. Your mind is not intact. Case of polygamy in the black community. Polygamy is the elephant in the room for most black women. Yeah. And see this. This is they're together and they say, well, we want a man, but you got to accept her too. She's my woman. So you could come in that way, but that's not lawful, man. The women are supposed to look at each other like sisters and not mates. And else, black polygamy. It's all over the place. But Jake, if you're a spiritual man, you gotta watch yourself because you can't be led into lust. Polygamy in the black community. They can't be lovers. They got to be sisters, man. So even if you have 500 to 1,000 women, they all got to look at each other like sisters. And they call it sisterhood or sister wives or something like that. But yeah, and it's gonna happen more. It's gonna become more of a thing. You know. And the scriptures don't lie, man. Scriptures don't lie. And really, black men has always been that way, And that's why it says, like, they call it cheating. But really, it shouldn't be. But really it's the way that it's presented to the woman to where he lied to her. So, that's why, hey, if you really seriously dealing with a woman, considering her a wife, and you deal with another woman, considering her wife, they got to know about each other, in some form of fashion. So you won't, have them confused and be a liar. But of course, any other kind of way, we don't have to tell them anything. If they're not sincere about these scriptures and coming to the Most High, you don't gotta tell them nothing. But yeah, so and imagine if a lot of these foreign women, and I'll close out, were over here, and how them foreign women, they like Jake, love Jake, and the Korean women, the Filipino women, the German women, you know, imagine them just flooding the streets of America. Jacoby, he'll be with them, and not the other way around. And, you know, because they they are more submissive. They're more willing to get with the program with Jake. They're more infatuated with Jake. You know, that used to be a thing in the '90s where a black woman still saw the black man like that. He she let him live, and you know Jake was young. You know at '90s era Jake was young, 18, 19. So he moved out, started living with his woman, and it became a burden. He didn't know how to go about you know education and you know these jobs or having a skill, having any kind of knowledge to even maintain his money. So that was a flop bet, you know. When Jake becomes knowledgeable about these things, now it's like, you know, this day they were like, nah, F the black man, you know. So, hey, that was a time and it passed. But it's coming back around. I mean, you know, with the Passport Brothers, you know, different things like that. And these women are starting to see, like, oh shit, it's more prosperous with, you know, I might have to deal with this polygamy thing. Just for the sake of, you know, my feelings and my emotions, because, you know, their thing is like them not knowing about what's going on and them, you know, Jake sleeping with another woman and this bitch thinks she's better than me or you think she's better than me. But if she knows her and they're like sisters, it's a different story, you know. And when they start having children, you know, they're occupied in the care of their children instead of being worried about who the man is sleeping with so much, you know. And I know it seems like, oh, women be like, yeah, I don't, that sounds crazy. But that y'all supposed to be child bearers, you know what I'm saying? Bear the children, take care of the house, you know, be the nurses and all that, you know. So, like I said, it was a shame for a woman not to have children back then, bearing. Even Sarah being an example, telling, you know, suggesting that Abraham go into her handmaid Hagar. She's the one that suggested it because she was barren, but eventually she had a child. But you know, that's how detrimental it was, so to speak, for a woman not to be able to have children. It was, you know, just like a shame to her. But anyway, you know, I pulled one scripture, but I did mention a couple of more. You know, and Jake, he can be choosy. We could be choosy as men, like, nah, you ain't my type. You know, just like they choosy with the 6-figure man. Like, yeah, you don't got 6 figures, so I can't mess with you. But like I said, that 6-figure thing is going to be a thing of the past pretty soon. It's already becoming that way. Some women are, you know, a lot of women are still hold that bar, you know, hold men to that standard. But these times we're coming into, man, you got to get it where you can, man. Get in where you fit in, you know. So anyway, I think that's it. Till the next video, shalom.